Hello and welcome to our new tutorial in advanced programming inside Kotlin and Firebase and applications for mobile phones. To complete this tutorial, you will at least need an access to Firebase. That's why I recommend you to log into Firebase. As you can see here, I already logged in. You'll need Android Studio, like we have been using before, and an account in Bitbucket to link our project to a certain repository, and commit and push and so on and so on and so on. Okay, so what's the first steps I want to start with? First of all, I will create a new project. Okay, it's going to be an empty Android project with empty activity, at least for this tutorial. You can do whatever you want. If you want to do it by yourself, you can repeat these steps again with different kind of activities. I will create an empty activity. Okay, next, I will name the activity. Let's call it my project 1. And as you can see, as I already explained before, you define the package name, generally company, the name of the company, the name of the project, the location you want it to be stored, the language, and very important, I recommend for Firebase to work, because Firebase has a minimum API version level. It has to be 21, I think. Okay, so leave it as 21, and let's finish. And we're gonna let the app build up. Okay. Meanwhile, we'll do exactly the same process on the web. Now, we have two different ways of doing it. I will mix those two ways. First, I can create the project here and then access it from here, or because Android is a Google service, okay, it's a Google product, and Firebase is also a Google product, they are all really interconnected. So before we continue, it's very important that you log in here with your account. This time it's my university account, okay? And here in the tools, you will see that I have different options, including Firebase options. Okay, now I will use this, but not right now. Okay, I will go to my Firebase console, and it's very important you go into your console. Okay, in my case, I already have some projects here. Okay, I will create a new, maybe I can, because some of those are not mine, I will create a new project. It's gonna be called it should be called the same name of your project 1. Let's go ahead like that. I think that's the name I gave it in Android Studio. Yeah, my project 1, and I will continue. Once you do continue, you can either enable or disable analytics. Analytics helps us to get useful information on the usability of the product. Okay, you have to understand that from now on, our apps will be connected to the back end of Firebase. And it will recollect information that can be extremely useful for us in development. So if you want, I will activate the analytics, and it will ask me what account to choose. I will account the default account, which is the one associated to my university email. While it creates the project, I will go back to my Android console here. So remember that, as we've seen in previous tutorials, our development is always centered in two important regions, which is the REST section and the Java, the name of the package, where are the Kotlin section. This is the Kotlin files. Okay, you'll see the Kotlin file, like we've seen before, has different similar structure, the onCreate structure, and so on. And if I press play on my emulator, I'll be able to see the application running. Great. Now, let's add the first thing we need if we want our application to connect to the internet. Well, before we do that, because it's already finished, I'm gonna finish here, continue here. Okay. So once the Firebase finish creating our project in the back end, I press continue. Now it will appear here on the list, and it will automatically send me to, yeah, well, not now, to my panel, okay, to my projects panel, control panel. Here we will use many of the options here on the left because we are going to develop. Okay, yeah, well, it finished creating it. But for the first part of our tutorials, we will create a login service and later on a sign up and login service. Okay, that will connect to this backend. Okay, we're right now the app has nothing, only a hello world. We will add a login and password service. It's going to be a login based on email password. So obviously we'll get into our identification section, and here, as you can see, Firebase manages all the logged authentication elements needed for us to add for our application. Okay, it's very important to understand that all elements, all things related to data, which has to do with also the information of the user, the information, profile information, everything related to data, it's going to be managed from here. What we call persistency, okay? Information persistency, or the model side, is information that we have to store for future access. And that will be stored in our Firebase side, okay, or the back end. To do that, and to activate identification to manage users in our app, we have to first define the sign-in method we want to enable. Okay, you can see there are many different options. We can allow the user to log in with his phone, like WhatsApp, for example, with the Google account, with the Facebook account, the Twitter account. Okay, for the simplicity of our tutorial, we are only going to enable the login with email and password. Okay, which is the most traditional method we know in the more traditional method of login. Okay, once we enable this and we go back to the users list, you will see there is no users at all. So we want to add a user. Okay, it can be a fake user. I'm gonna call it Yoni. Sorry. I'm gonna put this in there. Yoni at yoni.com. Okay, and I'm gonna give it a password, a very simple password, yeah, to add it into it. Okay, once I add that password and that user, it will appear in the list of users in my authentication section of Firebase. And with that, we already added a user. You will see it has its own unique ID. That's very important for future reference because that's the way we will identify our user inside our Firebase system. It's unique. No other user will have the same ID. It's very important to understand that. Once we have this, we go back to our Android Studio, and now we can finally connect it to Firebase. Okay, we still have to do a number of steps to connect it. And because we want to add authentication, we will go into Tools, Firebase, and here on the right, we'll have an assistance in Firebase, and we're gonna choose the authentication service. As you can see, there are many others. We can add all of these services: machine learning kit, in-app messaging, etc. And it's very important that you have this in mind, at hand, because it's where you will find all kind of explanations on how to fulfill that, adding that functionality. Remember that if you don't want to use this, okay, it's very important, you can always go to the docs here, documentation, choose the Get Started with Android in our case, and on the left, you will see exactly the same tutorials and with more information, of course, and we will use this as well, with videos that explain as well how to do it, and you can always look at those videos as well, not only mine, okay? We go back here, we go to email and password and notification, and we press on connect to Firebase. Why we have to connect? Because we have to connect our app to the Firebase project we have in our Firebase side. We can either create one, but we already created it. You see, it already appears here in my list here. So I'm gonna choose an existing Firebase or Google project. This is the one I'm interested in, my project one, because we already created it. Okay, and I'm going to choose that one. I'm going to press on connect to Firebase. When I do that, it will add all necessary files to my project so it can finally connect automatically each time I execute the app to the Firebase side. As you can see, it is connected. Once we do that, from now on, all files, which are the Gradle files here, yeah, and another files like the Google, we can't see it here, but if you want to see it, you have to go into project view. You'll see that it added in the app section sorry, I'm trying to find it, my mistake. It's not in the app, it should be somewhere. Well, I can't really see it right now, but there is a file at Google with Google information that properties to connect to Firebase, okay? If you do it manually, you will see that it will ask you to download a file, to add it, and so on and so on, okay? Another necessary, well, let's add authentication, the Firebase authentication to your app. As you can see, we fulfill now the second step. We just press here, and now it will update the Gradle files here on the left with the necessary packages needed for it to work, okay? The Gradle files are, let's say, script files that allow us to build up or manage the building of our app. We cannot develop any application today without the use of a third-side libraries and packages. And for that to work, we need to have a file that manages every single element when we build up our final application. So what it's going to do is add the Google Service system to our app as a requirement. It will add, again, here the plugin in the specific app Gradle. Here is the global Gradle, this is the specific, and it's going to add the authentication plugin package so we can work with Firebase authentication. We put an accept, and it will modify the Gradles and it will rebuild our app, okay? Once that's done, it will change here the step, the check, and we want to add here the dependencies set up correctly, okay? On the following part of our tutorial, we will start coding the necessary code so it can connect to our Firebase side, okay? Great.